Hello friends, I'm George, the nice smelling gentleman. We're already midway through the spring season and I'm yet to do a spring fragrance list video. So in the next few days I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to do a short series of videos where I showed you designer and niche fragrances and some affordable fragrances as well that are great for usage in the springtime. Now I'll split my designer and niche lists into two parts because I have quite a few fragrances to show you and I don't want to do it in just one video where it gets too long and too boring. So today is going to be part one of my designer and niche fragrance list that fragrances that are great for springtime usage. I'll start off this video with one of my personal favorite scents, the Prada L'Homme Intense. Now this is the original Prada L'Homme DNA but done with a slight twist. You still get that sweet soapy iris, but in here it's sort of accompanied by a violet note, some patchouli, and of course some leather, some amber as well. It's a bit sweeter compared to the original Prada L'Homme, feels a bit denser, feels a bit more darker, let's say. Has very good performance, at least on my skin, with quite good projection as well. It's a very clean, very soapy type of scent. And also very classy. It's suitable for pretty much any type of occasion and can be worn all year round. The only problem with the Prada L'Homme Intense is that it's a bit harder to find and the price tag is quite hefty. Second fragrance in today's video is going to be one from the house of Paco Rabanne, the 1 Million Lucky. Now, unlike most of the other members of the 1 Million family, the 1 Million Lucky is not as sweet and not as dense as most of the other fragrances from this line. What we have here is a nice fruity addition. There's some citruses, a grapefruit note, there's a plum note with some added ozonic notes in here as well. On the dry down you get hazelnut, you get honey, you get some patchouli, you get some vetiver. All in all, it's quite sweet but also has enough freshness, especially up top, to make it different compared to most of the other flankers of the 1 Million line and to make it wearable in a warmer weather like mid or late spring. The only problem that I have with this fragrance is the fact that it's turns out it's been discontinued, but it's still readily available at discounters for a reasonable price. It also has pretty good performance and pretty good projection. So if you are yet to pick up a bottle of 1 Million, look, I think now is the time before prices go really sky high. For number 3 today, let's go with something from the house of Dior, the Dior Homme Sport. Now, I have only one problem with this fragrance, and that's the fact that the sport name of this fragrance can be a bit misleading, because I don't think this is a sport fragrance at all. Other than that, I really like this one. It's really citrusy, really fresh. You get a nice citrusy blast in the opening. Then this fragrance dries down to still that some of that freshness, that citrusy freshness from the opening, mixed with some woody notes and some musky notes on the dry down. It's fresh, it's very versatile, has pretty good projection. It's quite a loud fragrance for the first 2 to 3 hours after you've sprayed this one. Also lasts for a pretty long time. I get 7, 8, sometimes even 9 hours out of it. It's a nice, very nice fragrance for the warmer months of the year, but can be worn all year round without any problem. It's office friendly. With this fragrance, you're going to smell fresh and pleasant. You won't offend anybody. The only problem, maybe the other problem with this one, is of course the fact that this is a Dior fragrance, so it has quite a hefty price tag. But I think there's enough of a quality in here to justify that price tag. At number 4, let's go with something from Rochas, the Rochas Moustache EDP. Now, of course, this is a fragrance that's heavily inspired by the original YSL Tuxedo. It's a sort of a softer, more milder, more sweeter version of a YSL Tuxedo. You get a nice spicy opening with a pink pepper note, and also there's some mandarin orange note in the opening as well that gives enough sweetness to balance out some of that spiciness from the pink pepper. Then on the dry down, it's a nice mix of cedar, benzoin, vanilla, patchouli of course, and a touch of rose. As I said, this is sort of like a sweeter, milder version of a tuxedo. It also brings sort of to my nose sort of a old school barbershopy vibe to the game with a bit of a modern twist. Performance of this one is not that good. but the price tag is still quite affordable, especially if you can find a 125 ml bottle like the one that I have in here. It should last you for quite a while. The fifth fragrance for today is going to be from the house of Mancera, the Mancera Intense Cedrat Boise. Of course, this is the original Cedrat Boise DNA done with a bit of a twist. This is like a more woodier, slightly darker version of the original Cedrat Boise. You still get that very pleasant citrusy opening that has some spiciness, and then on the dry down that nice mix of fruits, patchouli, cedar, leather, vanilla. As I said, this is a more woodier version of the original DNA. It's like a little bit more mature version that makes it more wearable in colder months of the year, but I still think that the best time to wear the Cedrat Boise Intense is spring and early summer. You get fantastic performance and fantastic projection out of this fragrance. You also get a pretty nice price tag to go along with that, considering that Mancera are a niche fragrance house. Their pricing is still closer to designer pricing levels rather than niche pricing levels, and this can be easily found at discounters as well, which brings the price even lower, and I think it's a great choice for spring usage. For the sixth fragrance today, I will go with something from YSL, the Nuit Bleu Electrique. Now, of course, this is another flanker of a original DNA, the the original Nuit. This sits quite close scent-wise to the original Nuit, but adds a bit of a freshness to the mix with a ginger note that's very prominent, especially in the opening of this fragrance. Other than that, again, the main players here are the cardamom, the lavender, the vetiver that you get with the original one. This has better performance compared to the original one, especially comparing it to the latest batches of the original La Nuit de l'Homme. Also, I think this makes this fragrance a little bit more versatile, because that added ginger note brings enough of a freshness to make the sort of the age factor of this fragrance, so to bring it a little bit lower, meaning that younger guys can wear this one. But other than that, it serves pretty much the same purpose. It's great for date nights, especially in mild weather like springtime. The problem with this one is that it's hard to find. Sometimes, you know, the price tag can be very hefty, but I think the scent profile is worth it. For number 7 today, I'll go with, again, another of my personal favorites from Dior, the Dior Homme Original. Now, of course, this is all about the lipsticky iris in here. There are some supporting notes, like a bit of a citrusy note, a bergamot note. On the dry down, there's some cardamom, there's some vetiver, a bit of a woodsy notes in here as well, just to create enough of a base for that sweet iris to sit on. But all in all, it's all about the lipsticky powdery iris. It's very sweet, very powdery, feels very light, and smells, to my nose, very artistic. Really nice fragrance. Compared to the bigger brothers, the Dior Homme Intense and Dior Homme Parfum, this feels lighter, this feels a bit sweeter, and a bit fresher as well, which makes it very nicely usable in the spring weather. Has pretty decent performance and a pretty decent projection. The problem with this one, that it's apparently an European exclusive fragrance, so it can be hard to find in other parts of the world. But if you like iris, and if you can get your hands on one of these bottles, I think you definitely need to get a bottle of Dior Homme Original. And the last fragrance for today's video, at number 8, the granddaddy of all blue fragrances, the Bleu De Chanel EDP. What can I say about this fragrance that cannot be said already? It's such a fantastic, such a classy mix of some fresh citrusy notes in the opening and sweet woody dry down. Very classy, very sophisticated, super versatile, can be worn all year round. But I think it's great for the warmer months of the year, especially the late spring and early summer. I think this is the most versatile member of the Bleu De Chanel family. You can go easily with the EDT or the EDP versions as well, but I think that for springtime usage, the Bleu De Chanel EDP is the best choice. Two problems with this one. The first of all, of course, the price tag. The prices of the Bleu De Chanel line, and pretty much all Chanel fragrances at this point, are heavily into niche territory. And the other problem with this fragrance for a lot of the people is the performance. and I can definitely admit the fact that this is not a beast performing fragrance or like super strong performing fragrance, although I still get decent performance out of it, maybe somewhere between 6 to 7 hours, which is I think good enough considering the sort of the very versatile nature and very likable nature of this scent profile. The last fragrance for today at number 8, the Bleu De Chanel EDP. And so guys, in today's video I showed you 8 fragrances that in my opinion work fantastic in the spring season. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like. Also be on the lookout for the part 2 of this video in the upcoming days. Subscribe to my channel, stay safe, and I'm gonna see you in my next video. Bye bye.